What's going on, everybody? My name is Timothy Cato III, or simply Cato III, and this is I Got More to Say, a podcast where we talk all things hip-hop, from the industry to beefs to promotion to marketing to current events. If it's hip-hop related, we talk it. And today, we have a very, 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 very special guest. Now, she's actually the first person that I wanted to do because March is Women's History Month, as you guys know. And the person sitting to my right, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I always got to give a proper introduction. So, what is it? Born in Toronto, Canada? Mm-hmm. I'm right or I'm wrong? Born in Toronto, Canada. Yes, where it's really cold. Moved to the Chicago area, we'll say. Moved to Chicago area at the age of 15. Then went to Kent State University. What was your degree in?
Exercise science.
Exercise science from Kent State University. Golden Flashes? That's crazy.
That's it.
The Golden Flashes is wild. After that, eventually came here to here to Syracuse University. What college are you in? Falk. And I eventually met her through a mutual friend here at Syracuse University. But none other than Ndidi Ukaobasi.
Yeah.
Ndidi Ukaobasi. Ndidi, appreciate you for being here.
Please.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. Now, Ndidi, I want you to introduce yourself. Just essentially some things you'd like to know about people. I would definitely love for you to jump in and talk just about, where you're from, your household, because where you're from and is it nationality or ethnicity are two very different things. Just anything you'd like to share.
Okay, so like Cato said, I'm Ndidi. I was born in Toronto, raised there, moved to the U.S. in 2013, so I was 15. It was kind of like a weird time because I was a sophomore in high school, so I feel like at that time, like everybody's kind of already clicked up with one another. So it's kind of tough, but I was in a Chicago suburb, and I stayed there until I graduated, and then I went to Kent. Kent was a good time for me because I think when I moved here, it was hard because like the suburbs were not as diverse as Toronto, obviously. And so going to Kent, I found my people. It kind of helped me open myself up again. I got my degree in exercise science. I kind of went that way because I got injured doing track. So I kind of wanted to help people with exercise. So that's why I did that. And so at Kent, I kind of realized I wanted to do post education, like past my bachelors. So I wanted to get my master's. COVID happened, so I took a little gap year. I was back in at home. And after the gap year, I was like, I got to go back and get my master's. So I'm here.
Nah, that's what's up.
Oh, yeah. And then, so ethnically, I'm Nigerian. Mm-hmm. My dad was born there, raised there. He moved to Canada. And my mom was born in Canada, but she has Nigerian parents. So that's kind of how I was raised in an immigrant household. And then obviously I was born in Canada, so it was more like westernized living. So I got a little bit of both, but it was mostly...
I'm sorry, where was your mom from again?
She's Canadian,
She's
but
Canadian
her
as well. Okay.
parents were born from in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, so. Okay. That's so Nigerian, both.
Yeah,
both
exactly.
And both, I don't know how this works, so please forgive me, this is an ignorant question. But in Nigerians, you guys married within your tribe? So
not
you're Igbo?
Always. So my dad, he's Igbo, but my mom's parents, they're Ibibio.
Ibibio?
So they're different tribes, but I don't really necessarily think that there's like a be all end all. Like I think it was just a happy coincidence that they're both Nigerian. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I bet. Now, real quick, because as I said, I do want to focus on the music. Thank you for sharing that for a fact. And shout out to you because we'll graduate in 6 weeks.
Don't say it like that.
Hey, man. We all out of here, Monty. We out of here in 6 weeks. I mean, I feel like I just got here, but you've been here for a year before this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so you ready to go.
For 2 years.
No, I feel that. Anyways, Ndidi, what I was going to ask is, I know that you said that you were pretty much born in Canada and raised there. So with being born and raised in Canada, Canada is interesting within the music industry because 2 of the top 5 artists in the world are from Canada, being The Weeknd and Drake.
So who's your top 5?
It's not necessarily about my top 5. I'm talking about, excuse me. I see what you're saying. Let me be a little bit more clear. Okay. When I say 2 of the top 5 artists in the world are from Canada, I mean the best-selling, the most popular.
Okay.
We'll go with that. So, of course, that being The Weeknd. The Weeknd has the most streamed song ever with Blinding Lights. Drake is the king of streams with over 160 billion as of July, so it's probably even deeper by now. Especially it's just the fact that he just put out an album that's, I don't know if it's platinum yet, but it's gonna be there with, Her Loss with 21 Savage. So anyways, yeah, Canada has 2 out of the top 5, like I said, most popular and highest selling artists. However, though, I feel like even with America, like I said, I grew up upstate New York for most of my life, and I was just always wondering, and also too, Canada has, I think, in the top 10 when it comes to international, when it comes to music markets by country. So it's extremely unique as far as a musical, as far as like the music industry there. However, I feel like in America, we don't necessarily, a lot of us, if we don't have a direct connection there, we don't necessarily know what's going on there musically. Could you talk to me about how it was growing up in Canada and like what you were listening to, what the music scene is like from what you've noticed and just your experiences?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different because I grew up in Toronto. Like, I feel like I'm kind of in a weird position because, like, Toronto is not that much different from, like, big cities in the U.S. Like, it's a big city and it has a lot of, like, American influence. Like, if you were to go to Toronto, you wouldn't feel like you're super out of place. You might see some new restaurants or some new, like, pricing of things, but other than that, like, it's pretty similar. Because when I moved here, the biggest culture shock was that I moved to somewhere that didn't have a lot of ethnic diversity, so in those terms it's a little bit different, but for real, I think I did get more Drake than I feel like some places would. Like, Drake was played heavily on the radios, and again, I can't speak for all of Canada because I'm in Toronto, but Toronto definitely, like, I feel like had a focus on, like, putting Drake's music out there and, like, hearing Drake. Like, even when I go back now, like, you go and hear the radio, you'll hear, like, old Drake on the radio. So, I don't know. I feel like because of how big Drake got is why he's so, like, big in Toronto, because he is big everywhere. So, I feel like that's why we hear him a lot. I don't know if I can really speak for The Weeknd. Like, they definitely do play him. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Toronto is the music scene in Canada. Because, like, if you were to think of other Canadian artists, you wouldn't be, like, able to tell me, really. Or if you did, like, have one in your mind, they would probably be from the Greater Toronto area. Like, Party Next Door, he's from the Greater Toronto area. And Division, they're from the Greater Toronto area. So
Roy Woods is from the Greater Toronto area.
Exactly.
And Nav. And Baka Not Nice, is she from that area too?
All of them are, like, from that space. So I think it's just, like, the Toronto culture. Like, once Drake got that, like, platform, he was able to bring more people in and promote
he was signing
more.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So how he got to that point, that's Drake. But once he got that platform, it opened up the opportunities for the people in Toronto.
So with Drake, I wanted to ask you, because you were old enough to experience him, like, when he was young and when he was first coming in the game, like, his mixtape, like, So Far Gone, and then eventually, he got on with Wayne, and then, I mean, we've witnessed the story. Like, how is Drake viewed in Canada, and how is Drake viewed in Toronto? Like, because obviously in America, I ain't gonna say we all, but a lot of people love him. His music's everywhere. He is who he is. I mean, he's an icon as far as, I feel like, American culture. People might not know nothing about America, but they know who Drake is.
Right.
So how is he viewed in the city that he's from? Because, like you said, Toronto is America is like a very much like an American city. I've heard that
I feel like if you were to
comparable.
go there, that's what you could, like, compare to. Like, if you went to, I don't know, I tell people, like, Toronto's like a clean New York.
I've heard that. I've heard it's a lot like New York City.
Yeah, like with the subway system and just how you get around the city. So it's really not that different. In terms of, like, Drake, I feel like he, I don't know, kind of gets his way around the city. Just in terms of, like, I'm going to put it with the Raptors. Like, Drake is, like, the global ambassador for the Raptors.
Toronto Raptors. Yeah, I've never seen a rapper do anything like that.
And it's like, and I feel like he was one of the first, if any, like, afterwards, like, other rappers were doing it, but, like, he puts on for the city, so the city shows him love too. Like, wherever he goes, like, you're gonna know he's from Toronto. He puts on his little Toronto accent every so often. He does that thing, and, like, so he's from the city. So when he's in the city, like, they show him love, and, like, he gets the, like, love that he deserves, especially since he's been with the city for so long, since Degrassi.
Yeah.
So I think that I don't know if I necessarily just like have shades on to it, because I don't know if like I like see him in that same way, like, oh, it's Drake. But I do think like the city does have like real love for him because of how much that he actually like put on for the city. Because I feel like before Drake, everybody was like, oh, what's in Toronto? Like, I didn't know black people lived in Toronto. Like, all those kind of things. Like, so because he put on the city loves him. So yeah.
Now, I say like in America, we view certain artists like a Madonna or Bruce Springsteen or who else is somebody, or even like a. I mean, the Beatles are from England. Well, I shouldn't use the Beatles because, like I said, they're not from America.
Rolling Stones, are they from here?
I have no clue, and I don't want to. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know much about rock, but I'm just trying to think of like people who've sold a lot of records, or like I don't want to say Eminem because I don't want to use Eminem as an example neither. I'm trying to think of just
what about
like
Lady Gaga? I feel like
ladies up there. Rihanna's from Barbados. Damn. Who's like an American person who sold millions of records who like I want somebody that got a little bit more like people love Taylor. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Yes. Thank you, Beyonce. My fault. I'm so much in the rap world. You feel me? I don't know why I didn't think about Beyonce. Beyonce, I'm sorry. That was embarrassing.
Beyonce, I'm sorry, is crazy.
Well, I was just going to say Beyonce catches a lot of flack because, people say she doesn't write her own music, whatever. I don't care. Beyonce put her name on it. She found a way to handle her business. I like Beyonce's music, so. But anyways, like a Beyonce. Like, people who, like, how we kind of, like, Beyonce's like a god in America, I feel. Like, is Drake viewed that same way in Canada? Like, does he, like, get, like, quote on, and sorry if this sounds sacrilegious, did he get, like, worshipped by people?
I feel like not to the extent, like, of a Beyonce extent. Like, or I don't know. I also feel like I just have, like, shades on because, like, coming from Toronto, everyone's like, oh, do you know Drake? Have you met Drake? This, and Drake. I'm like, no.
Real quick, if you're one of those people who do that when you meet people from Canada, stop it. Come on now, Drake, out of all people that they can know. I mean, Canada's bigger than Drake. Please continue.
So...
do you know Drake is crazy? Like, he just walking around, like, he just be walking to the grocery store with his house shoes on and his bathrobe.
When I first moved here, that's, like, people would ask me that all
Like, you
the
could
time.
just go and just talk to Drake.
Yeah.
Continue,
so
I'm sorry.
It was... Yeah, I don't know. So, for me, I just feel like I have shades on when it comes to Drake, like... That's Drake. I'll listen to his album and be cool. Like, I'm not gonna fangirl and die over it, So to answer honestly, I do not see him in that way, but I can see if people in the city do see him like that. Like, oh, I grew up with Drake. I went to school with Drake. This, and this Drake. Like, I know, like earlier before he got like really, really big, like around his birthday, like people in the city would post his picture. Like, oh, I met Drake one time here, and like I'm gonna post his picture for his birthday because we're buddies. Like, so I think like because he was like one of the first people in Toronto to get really big, like. Everybody wants to cling on to those little like connections that they do have with him, but I just don't think that it's like Beyonce level.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you feel like Drake can get there? Because I seen a video the other day. Drake's talking about retiring.
I don't know if Drake can get there because of like how people see him now. Like people are like, oh, he's corny, or oh, he does too much, or oh, he's 35 acting like he's like 22. So I feel like because of those like attitude things, people are not gonna be like, oh my gosh, Drake, but they respect him because of like, oh, well, he does these streams, he does this,
People say that about Drake. Drake walk his ass in here right now, I'm gonna have a million things to say. Like,
that's a fact.
Yeah,
like,
people
I'll take
kill
a
me
picture
with
with him and like.
I mean, I'm a fan personally.
Yeah,
I like Drake
like
music,
he's cool. It's just like I don't think I could ever like, oh my gosh, this is Drake. Like it's Drake.
That's fair. Okay. Now that we pretty much, well, actually, time out. Because I feel like Canada has so many, I just want to stay on the Drake topic just really fast. Because I feel like Canada has a bunch of dope artists that just in America, we just are unheard of, that we just don't know about, beside, like outside of like whoever's pretty much on Drake's label and The Weeknd. I know you said Drake pretty much hustled the way he hustled, grind the way he had to grind in order to get to the level and to the status he is. Obviously, that comes with a lot of talent. But what did Drake do differently? Because like here in America, like, there's a couple, I feel like, key simple things that you can do to get hot in your city. Artists, pay attention. I feel like the first thing you can do is, to really have a music career. I think the first thing is that you have to get hot in your city. If your city don't back you, if your city not rocking with you, if your city not pushing your music, then, nobody else will. Second thing, within artists here in America, is that you pretty much got to get popping in the club. I mean, the club is pretty much what dictate. And I ain't gonna say what pretty much, but the club I feel like has a heavy influence of what's on the radio. The club is where a lot of people actually hear new music because you know, especially a lot of young people, because you know the target demographic for that music is marketed to is in between 16 and 24. I personally believe it's 14 and 24, but that's just my own personal opinion. So, anyways, I'm doing a lot of rambling, but yeah, getting hot in your city, having the one club hit, you know, obviously bodying people on their features is another way, you know, to get your name out there. You know, shooting a lot of music videos, I think is another way. But what did like? How do you get hot in Canada, and what did Drake do that everybody else didn't?
Well, now I feel like it's a little bit different because not to like bring Nicki into it, but like they were out there like giving out their mixtapes, like trying to put their name out for themselves to like.
That's another thing
to get people to hear them. So I think that's like what kind of put him apart. It's kind of hard to do that now, and like once the game has been played, like people don't want to repeat what's already been done. So I think like in terms of Drake, he was able to kind of do that thing for himself, put himself out there, and because he was the one like in the city doing that, like he could do it for himself. And then for the club, like the club scene also has changed. So one, I feel like people are like there for like, oh, I'm at the club, not necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna pick up what I'm hearing type of thing. Like people don't really go to the club and dance type of thing. So it's a very unique scenario that was like given to him, or like he was in for him to push himself forward. I
Don't really know.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't. He was also, I think, what helped him was being on TV, and like he did his little rap. Like I feel like he started his rap career on Degrassi. Like was able to like kind of put himself out there a little bit, and not like exposure. Like not everybody has that. So when he says started from the bottom, it's like what was the bottom really? Because you were on TV for X amount of years, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, Drake also too. I think a lot of people don't realize, or at least a lot of people nowadays don't kind of forget. Drake was underneath the wing of Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can go on and on about Wayne's run, but essentially what Lil Wayne did, just to talk about him for a second, Drake always give Wayne his flowers, and that's one thing I love about Drake, as far as just showing love. I mean, Lil Wayne essentially was a teen star, dropped a classic debut album, was a part of a group that was multi-platinum. Everybody left the group, and Wayne said on his the Carter 2 that he's the best rapper alive, that he proved it. And I feel like Wayne kind of really set the precedent as far as for what rappers do today to get hot. As far as flooding the streets with mixtapes and dropping quality albums and bodying everybody on their features. So I really feel like Drake really kind of just seen what Wayne did and just took it to another level.
Exactly, because Drake was hopping on features like
Left
back
and
to
right.
back
He still
to back
does.
to back. Yeah, and like would do the thing like what's that song? Aston Martin music.
Yep.
Like nobody really cares about the rest. They be singing Drake's part of the
part.
song. So
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Drake also has a lot of people don't know this. Drake has a verse on Aston Martin music. You haven't heard it? Go listen to it. Just figured I'd put that out there. A lot of people don't know that Drake actually has a feature, not a bridge and a hook. He has a full feature. The song's like 7 minutes long.
yeah,
Have
see,
you heard it?
I'm now that you just said that, because I'm pretty sure that song like came on earlier this week, and I like heard it, but I didn't like click in my brain. I'm like, oh, Drake is really rapping on this right now. I just pay attention to the Aston Martin. Yeah, so I don't know. He like you said, hopping on features was definitely a plus for him, and I feel like nowadays not a lot of people get that opportunity just to like get on a feature or like be able to show out on a feature type of thing, and then features be mad expensive, so people don't want to pay for them. Like, so, like I said, I feel like he had a very unique set of circumstances that placed him where he was at, and then he had an excellent mentor to help push him forward. So
Definitely.
that really helped him, and then it doesn't hurt that he can actually rap and sing rap too. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what do you consider Drake? A rapper, or do you consider him a singer?
I'm gonna say a rapper, because he don't really be singing. Like he puts a little melody on the rap, but that's about it.
Monty, what do you consider Drake? A rapper or a singer? A rapper? Okay. Some people really think that Drake's a pop star. I don't see it at all.
I think maybe because of like the beats that he uses and like the way he pushes them out, like that's pop star material, but he's a rapper at the end of the day. Like it might be like the collabs that he does, or like I don't know, like Hotline Bling was kind of popish, but was rapping on that song. So yeah, I think he's a rapper.
Nah, Drake to me is definitely a rapper. I mean, I tell people, to me, I mean, a lot of Drake's most popular music is him doing a little bit more singing. Number one, Drake to me is an artist. A lot of people say that he appropriates culture by, featuring things such as dancehall and Afrobeat.
Let's pause for one quick second.
Okay, let's hear that.
Because I hate when people say that, because when you go to Toronto, like that's the blend of the culture. Like it's Afrobeat. Toronto's a very diverse place. Yeah, it's Afrobeat, it's dancehall, it's everything you can find. So, especially like as a Black Torontonian, like the people you're surrounded by are like African people, Caribbean people, like West Indian people, like those kind of people. So when he pulls those influences, like that's what Toronto is. Like I don't think that he's like biting off of anything. Like if you hear a Toronto accent, like it's a mix of like Caribbean, African, like slang all together. So for people that say that, they haven't been to Toronto or experienced like that Toronto vibe, because he's not pulling from anything that's just Toronto.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to go on my little rant.
No, actually, can you I forgot what I was going to ask you, but I'm going to just touch on this point. Yeah, Drake is a rapper. As I said, to me, he will always be a rapper. He came in the game rapping. You look at a lot of his early hits, you like a lot of his early work. I mean, I tell people, you want to listen to rapper Drake, Thank Me Later, Take Care, and what's the other album? Nothing Was the Same. That's a rap. Those are rap albums. Yeah, I mean, even if you're reading This Is Too Late, rapping. Then when he got to like Views and More Life.
Oh, More Life.
Yeah, More Life. I actually love that project.
That's a Toronto album. That's why I like that album, because it's
album's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then honestly, I don't think you could talk about a top 5 from Drake without including this. Maybe even a top 3, depending on who you ask. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, like I tell people, like when you get to like that era of Drake, like this More Life era, then it got a little bit like Views, and it got a little bit more like kind of rap singing and kind of like poppy. But Drake's a rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drake is most certainly a rapper. I always tell people that, and first and foremost. You mentioned that Drake doesn't appropriate culture because there's so many different cultures in Canada. And I've always said this. Yeah, Drake isn't, from a Caribbean island. No, he's not from Africa. But I feel like Drake has one thing about Drake that I feel like he has probably done better than almost any rapper is create relationships. And I feel like he has created relationships with other artists and people that are from these areas where he is using this music. I mean, where he is using this as influence to make music. And I don't really feel like you can hold that against him. I mean, and even like Afrobeat, like I feel like Drake has his hand in so many different cultures. The reason why Drake can do what he does, as far as from making all these different genres of music sound good, not necessarily maybe be true to the genre, but sound good, is because I feel like not only does he have an understanding of it, but I feel like he takes time to actually be in those places. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah. So like, from my experience of growing up in Toronto, like I had connections to like people from everywhere, like people from India, Pakistan, Vietnam, Cambodia, China, the Caribbean, all of the African countries. So once you like have that relationship with those people, you're hanging out with those people, you're listening to the music that they listen to, like you get comfortable with it. So for example, I just went to Jamaica and we went to it was like a beach party, and they played like a lot of dance hall, a lot of soca, and if I was just like a linear, hey, I'm a Nigerian person, I grew up in Nigeria, like I wouldn't be super familiar with that music, but because I grew up in Toronto and my friends listen to that music, I listen to that music and I'm familiar with it, so like I'm comfortable. Like if I was to make a soca or dance hall music like song, I would be able to do so comfortably because I've listened to a good variety of it. So I feel like with Drake, like he has that opportunity as well, being in Toronto, like he had that opportunity to listen to X, Y, and Z music, so he can recreate it with his own spin on it.
Yeah, definitely. Nah, like I said, I like your take, and yeah, that's what I always say. I was like, man, people act like Drake just sit up, hear this music, and then go to the studio and make it.
Like, and he didn't just pull that out of nowhere. Like I don't know if he grew up with it. He probably did, but like being around all those cultures and that diversity definitely helps him to create that music.
Gotcha. All right, just to kind of get off of Drake for a second, can you tell me about what it was like growing up in an African household living in Toronto? Because what is Toronto's #1 genre of music? What is like the genre of music that most young people listen to? Would it be rap?
I think so.
Okay.
I feel like that's what I put myself on to really. Because at least in my household, it was pretty much like gospel music or like old school R&B, like Luther Vandross type of thing.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Time out. Wait a minute. Who else was in the household? I'm trying to hear this. You said Luther?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Who else?
That's
I don't
fire.
know. I can't think right now.
You said gospel?
Yeah.
That was
it was
Kirk
a lot.
Franklin?
Yeah, it was like Kirk Franklin, Mary, Fred Hammond, those type of vibes.
Shout out to your parents.
Yeah. So that's
Raised
what
you
I
up on
like
some good music.
grew up listening to.
Okay.
And then as I like went on into school, like obviously like everybody else was listening to something else. So I kind of like went that way and found my own like lane of what I wanted to listen to. I feel like I started doing that, I don't know, maybe like the end of middle school, like actually like getting music for myself. So I think like when I'm thinking back to it, it's like Meek Mill when he dropped Dreams and Nightmares, like that was one of my albums. ASAP's Long Live ASAP album, that one was one of my albums. The Game dropped an album that year.
Jesus Peace.
Yeah, Jesus Peace was one of my. Kendrick, obviously, when he dropped, that was.
Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah, that was my album. Like that is my album.
Yeah,
Hasn't changed.
I
That is
listen to that
number
once a
one.
month.
Yeah, so that's I feel like what I was exposed to and what I started to like lean towards, which I feel like is like rap, like heavy. Not heavy rap, but like that is.
No,
those
some
are
ball
rappers.
spitters.
Yeah, those
some
are
ball
rappers.
spitters,
So
yeah.
I feel like that was like the influence of like what we were getting, because that's what I was like listening to at the time.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, at home it was mostly like traditional African music, like Igbo music, and then the gospel music. And I kind of went my own way and found like my like for rap.
Gotcha. Is that what you primarily listen to now?
Not really. I feel like right now I'm like do a lot of R&B and Afrobeat. Well, so I guess like the beginnings of like Afrobeat gospel kind of got me to like the Afrobeat R&B space that I'm in now. Because
Okay.
that's really what I listen to.
Gotcha. So, you would say rap music you kind of found in like 5th grade, 5th, 6th grade.
Maybe
Okay.
like 6, 7.
6th, 7th?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's when you really started to venture off and, really kind of find your own musical
Right,
identity.
yeah.
Because before, it was kind of dictated by your parents.
Correct.
Gotcha. How was it? Like, were you allowed to listen to rap music? Because I know some people, like I talked to some people, I wasn't allowed to listen to rap till I got to high school. Like, did you have to sneak and listen to it? Or like, like how?
I don't know if I was like not allowed
Yeah.
or if it just I wasn't exposed to it until like I was actually talking to people about music. Cause I don't know. I don't think that like it was just like not allowed. I just wasn't exposed to that kind of thing. Cause the music that we listened to, like the gospel that we listened to would have like rap elements to it. Like I know Dietrich Haddon dropped an album that kind of was like a rap like a deeper hip hop album than traditional like gospel was. And we listened to it in the house and it wasn't a problem. I think it was more like the content of what was being said. As for like me doing it secretively, I don't really. So I got my albums, put them on my iTunes, and then put them on my iPod, and like it was my laptop, so it was like I didn't really have a like.
How old were you?
Like maybe 13.
What, a laptop?
Something like that, yeah.
Damn.
I had my parents because I was the first girl. I think that helped a lot because I got my phone when I was in 6th, maybe 7th grade. My brothers didn't get theirs till like middle or like until high. No, I'm tweaking. I think I got mine at the beginning of middle school. My brothers didn't get theirs till like the end.
Damn.
So right.
So you're the only girl.
Yeah,
How many brothers you got?
I got 2.
Oh, so it's 3 of y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think like
And you the oldest?
Mhm.
Damn. How was
So,
that?
it's
Being the oldest girl. Like, anybody ever try your brother, you got to go pull up on somebody?
a a couple times in elementary school, and we all were together. Like when I was in 5th, my first brother was in 3rd, and then my youngest was in 1st grade. So like that was the only time we were all together. So that was kind of like when I could like protect. But then I feel like my brothers kind of took care of each other as well. So yeah, there was only a couple occasions where I had to, run up on somebody. But other than that, it's been cool. I think like it kind of helped me be a little bit more mature than I needed to be, because I'm also watching out for two other people. So, yeah, but I'm also like pretty independent because the boys do their thing, I do my thing. So, yeah.
Respect it. Okay, so as far as so we talked about the music that you grew up with in the household. Let's talk about Chicago really quick, because Chicago to me has a very unique hip hop history. I mean, where could I even start? I mean, of course, like, I don't know if you necessarily really listen to him, but like, I always say like the first rapper that I like really ever heard of coming out of Chicago was Common. And then after Common, I mean, of course, Ye came, and Ye did what he did, which is a lot, and I mean that in a good way, because ain't many people able to see him from rather it's producing behind the boards or rather it's rapping. That's a different dude. Say however you want to feel about his most recent behavior, cool. But when it comes to this music shit, yeah, he's different. And you'd be a fool to deny that, respectfully. But anyways, so when you moved to Chicago, you said you were 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were 15. So you were 15. What year was that?
2013.
2013. Oh, man, perfect. So 2013, I feel like, drill had pretty much been introduced to, you pretty much were coming in when Chief Keef was taking off. So,
Don't Like.
Yeah, Don't Like, and, I mean, it might have been Every Day off of the Almighty S.O. mix. I mean, there was a lot of songs. But you pretty much got right there either when Chief Keef either just released his debut album or when he was gearing up to. Because I think, we just celebrated the 10-year anniversary, so he probably, of Finally Rich, so he probably released it.
It might have been, because I mean, I moved like halfway through 2013, so I was still like in Canada for the half. Okay, whatever, yeah.
So, I guess Chief Keef is one of my favorite rappers. I absolutely love Chief Keef. He's the soundtrack to my middle school and even high school and even college years because his music has just lived on so much. And I personally think Chief Keef is one of the biggest influences of the last 20 years within hip-hop. I might even say maybe outside of Young Thug, I don't know if there's been a single person who's influenced hip-hop more than Chief Keef. I'll get into this real quick. From the fashion, from everybody wearing True Religion, to Montclair jackets, to me, like I said, I might be wrong, Chief Keef was the first rapper I really seen rocking Montclair, to ad-libbing, to the slurred speech, which I feel like is hugely influenced mumble rap. Drill is the dominant sound of the world because drill is being practiced not only in New York, but it's being practiced in the UK, it's being practiced in Ghana, I think it's being practiced in Nigeria, it's being practiced in Ireland, it's being practiced in Russia. And he's the person who really brought drill to the mainstream. He really brought it to the world as far as because the sound was very underground. So with that being said, I personally feel like Keith Pharrell Cozart, yes, that's his full government name, is...
That's crazy.
That's his full government name. Yeah. I feel like he definitely, I said, I think we need to really start giving Chief Keef more of his flowers. But essentially, I always wanted to ask somebody who grew up during that time and somebody who was around my age, what was it like in Chicago when Chief Keef was popping off? Because I seen that Chief couldn't, there was one time he was supposed to do a concert in Chicago and he couldn't do it, so they put a hologram and they had to shut the hologram down because it was forcing the gangs in Chicago to start beefing with each other. I mean, his crazy antics when he was young. I mean, I remember he got pulled over in Atlanta, and when he got pulled over in Atlanta, I think the cop asked him, this is allegedly, the cop asked him, why were you going so fast? He was like, I bought a Ferrari. It's a $200,000 car. I'm supposed to go fast. And mind you, he was 15, 16 at the time. So anyways, with that, what was it like growing up and Chief Keef was taking off in Chicago? This is a city that didn't necessarily have like a marquee gangster rapper. This was kind of new.
So now, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but I was outside of Chicago. So, like, I'm in a Chicago suburb. So I didn't really get, like, that. I feel like the gravity of what the blow up was because I was so, like, removed from it. And I was also, like, brand new to the area. So I wasn't, like, I was still trying to get myself into the fact that, hey, I live in the United States now versus like anything else. So I don't know if I can speak to the gravity of how much that blow up influenced the city. But I personally definitely like became more aware of his music because I definitely listened to some of it before I moved. Because like I said, I moved halfway through the 2013. So I definitely like had heard of Chief Keef, was listening to him. But like the gravity of it didn't hit me as much as it possibly could have if I lived in the city. But I definitely felt his impact of like, I Don't Like Love Sosa and his first album.
Gotcha. So you say you didn't get a chance to experience Chief, really? Like,
not to the gravity that it could have been if I had actually lived in the city, because I was
like... No, talking about where are you from? Like, where did you live, if you don't mind me asking?
That's mad governmental.
Nah, don't do that, bro. Nah, don't get on my show and say I'm the government. Come on
You
now.
are, though.
I just wanted to know where you were at. That way it could be more relatable to the listener.
It's towards Aurora, Illinois.
Okay.
But, like around there. But I feel like Aurora people can understand a little bit more. There's a Chicago premium outlet out there. That's where it is, which is like 45, 50 minutes from the city.
Oh, okay. So it's not deep.
Yeah, it's not like crazy, but like for somebody who just moved to the area,
you was far enough.
Yeah, it's like not enough for me to like experience the city, you know, at 15. So
got you. Yeah. So just being from around the Chicago area, I mean, of course, like I said, Chief Keef kicked it off, and you can't really speak on him too much as far as like his impact. But what about some of the other artists like a Herbo, who I feel like really kind of took off in like 2014, 2015, or like a Lil Durk, or who else was hot in Chicago? I think Lil Reese was popping at the time. Fredo was popping. Like, do you remember anything from that era that you might be able to share with us? Just from a listener standpoint.
Yeah, I feel like I was just like a little more exposed than I was previously living there. But then again, like that lane was not what I was like listening to per se. Like I was still more like lyrical rap, like clean lyrical rap, like Kendrick type of thing, versus like their lane of rap. So I was exposed to it quicker than I would have been if I was still in Toronto, but I, again, can't, like, I didn't feel the gravity of it because of how removed I was from the city, and I was still trying to, like, live in high school, in a brand new high school, so,
gotcha.
Yeah. I was sticking to what I knew.
Got you. So, wait, time out. You said lyrical rap. I personally think G Herbo is one of the nicest lyricists we have in the game today. Did you listen to one more than the other? Like, did you have a G Herbo phase?
I don't think I had a phase. Okay. I think I tested the waters because it's like, I'm gonna give everybody a try, let me just listen, but it didn't stick with me, so I didn't continue down that lane.
Okay, so who are you like a fan of during like that Chicago era from like 2013 to maybe like 2017?
Who was I a fan of?
Was anybody you was listening to heavily? Because like I said, even though you lived 45 minutes outside the city.
I don't know, I feel like the only person I could have said is Keith, but it wasn't even like heavy, you know? Like I listened to him often enough, like he came in rotation, but not as much as I was listening to everybody else.
Got you. Okay. Wow. Damn, I thought it was crazy. I was like, man, I thought.
Nah, like, I mean, if I lived in the city, I might have a different perspective, but for somebody who was like just moving to a brand new place that was not very like black was probably hindered me from getting the full effect of, oh my gosh, it's Keith, oh my gosh, it's Herbo, oh my gosh, it's Durk.
Got you. So what were you listening to during your high school years? Because I know you just mentioned lyrical rap. So like, was there like some artists? I know you said ASAP. I know you said Game.
ASAP, Game, Kendrick, Cole, kind of Drake. I don't know. I feel like Drake for me is like hit or miss. Like, oh my gosh, this was great. This was not so
I feel
great.
like at this time, though, Drake was hitting.
Yeah.
Because you said you like lyrical, and that's when Drake to me was at a lyrical peak.
Yeah. Who else? Rihanna was doing her thing then, so I guess her, Beyonce.
Rihanna always been doing her damn thing. I ain't never seen no shit like this.
She quit for a little bit, so.
She got money.
Yeah, so.
Salute to Riri.
Yeah,
At one point,
out her.
What is it? She richer than Oprah, right? Yeah. Rihanna, like the richest black woman in the world, or like one of them, like top 5 or something.
Shout out her.
Yeah, 35. Crazy. Continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much what was in
That's
rotation.
the basis of the people. Like I don't know, I wasn't really digging for music at that time. I was just what was given to me was what I was working with, and if I liked it, I dug deeper. If I didn't, I just went the other way.
Gotcha. Now I want to talk about Africa. Now, you said that you were born in Canada, so
Yeah,
okay.
I went to Nigeria when I was 5.
Oh wow.
So that was 2003.
Okay.
And I have not been back. I wanted to go post graduation, but I graduated in 2020, so that didn't really work out for me.
Yeah.
And I don't really know when I'm going to get the chance to go or plan to go, but I would like to before.
You better be doing. What is your career you're gonna be pursuing? I mean, they're gonna be entering into when you get out of here.
Cardiac rehab.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of money and vacation time to go back to Nigeria.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's just about
cardiac rehab.
making that
is.
plan to get there. Do you want me to explain?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Explain to everybody. Explain to the
Okay.
listeners what cardiac rehab is.
So
Yeah.
basically, for people who like have the word is like a major adverse cardiac event. So it's like a heart attack or like a stroke. You have to get a pacemaker or something put in. They go through rehab like you would if you broke your leg. So instead of rehabbing your leg, you're rehabbing your heart because it's a muscle. So it gets it to act the way it did, or try to get it to act the way it did before the major adverse cardiac event. So most cardiac rehab programs are 18 weeks or 36 sessions where they go for the session's usually about an hour where you're working out for about 30 minutes, or we work up to getting you to work out for 30 minutes, just so that you can get back to doing activities of daily living.
Number one, it's great what you're doing.
Thank
my
you.
mother and my sister in the healthcare field, or in the medical field, I'll say. I don't want to say healthcare. So, because I feel like it's two different things. But shout out to you. That, and like I said, that sound like that's gonna be very lucrative. So you'll have plenty of time to get back to get back home. Well, not home necessarily, but to Nigeria. But so I mean, I hate to just mention this artist because I'm sure that Africa's a huge continent and has several artists, especially West Africa, where you're from, or where you're. Can I just say where you're from?
Ethnically.
Ethnically, yeah. I gotta ask, like, similar to how Drake is viewed in Canada. I mean, the one artist I think of when it comes to Africa is Burna Boy, and he's from Nigeria as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is his impact over in Africa? Because over here in the States, he's popping. Like, just to give a little bit of background information, Burna Boy sold out Madison Square Garden.
I was there.
Really?
Yeah.
Definitely want to hear about that because I heard people was hanging off the rafters.
Oh.
But yeah, like, I personally feel like Africa could have had an artist that's been this big. I mean, I feel like, of course, social media has helped. You know, the fact that Burna Boy signed with a major label in America, I feel like is great because if I'm not mistaken, he's with Atlantic. But he's with Atlantic. And then not only is Burna Boy big in America, like I said, selling out MSG is a big deal. Like, there are people over here, rappers, who can't sell out MSG. I've also seen that his music is huge over in Europe, in places like Denmark, the Netherlands. So we'll take it a step at a time. How do you feel like he's viewed in Nigeria, just from like your family members or people that you may know that have either lived there or been there? And how has he been able to break the mold of, you know, because there's been several African artists before him, but how has he been able to get to where he is now as being an African giant, as he calls himself?
Yeah, so I think Burna has a very like unique sound which pulls people in, and then he can diversify his sound. So he is able, I think what is key for him, like you mentioned with Drake, is that he can hop on a feature and like just change the whole dynamic of the song, or like you will stick with Burna's feature on that song and you might not know who that person is, but you remember that Burna is on that song and then you remember the artist. So I think that's what Burna's pull is that he can put himself on multiple songs and stand out on them. As for how he's viewed, I think why he isn't even bigger is because of like his attitude. Because there's been multiple allegations and times where he's been speaking on social media or just in general, like in public, where people will say that they had X, Y, and Z problem with him. For example, there was like a festival that happened in Lagos in
Excuse
December.
me, Lagos is in Nigeria, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure the listeners know.
Got you. So yeah, it happened. I think it happened in December, and he came out so like super late, according to social media. And when he came out, he wasn't really like apologetic. He was kind of like, "You guys better be glad that I'm here." Like I showed up, but it was like at 3 a.m. type of thing. But so it's like those little instances.
Wait, I'm sorry, did you say 3 a.m.?
Yeah, that's what I remember. I'm not 100% on that, but from what I remember seeing on social media, he came out around that time. So it's just like those little instances of his like attitude or like aggression showing like in public places is what I think is like kind of holding him back, or why people don't promote him as much as he possibly could because of like his attitude or how he acts towards his fans. But despite that all, he has such a unique sound, and the music that he makes is catchy. So it's like people kind of water that part down, or like I said, the information I got was based on social media, and a lot of the people that I follow are like Nigerian or like follow Nigerian people. Not everybody has that exposure. So for example, you probably didn't hear about that.
Did not.
Exactly. So
when I hear about Burna Boy, usually positive things.
Exactly. So that's what like I think is his bonus, is that a lot of the negative things that are being said about him or that happen via social media or like intimately, so it's not spread to everybody for his image to be destroyed in that way.
Yeah, I got to give Burna Boy his credit. From what I've seen, he's kept things very private as far as like regardless if it's some of the things you said as far as like, you know, his just antics as far as within his own home country, or even like his relationship. Like, now mind you, I just really started paying attention to Burna Boy maybe over the last like year, maybe year and a half. I had no clue he was even dating Stefflon, and I like her music. So, and then there's not like any information about it. Right. So, you know, like I said, I got to give Burna Boy his credit for as popular as he is. He does a great job at remaining private. But
internationally, at least, because I feel like a lot of people in Nigeria or like connected to Nigeria directly see like the little flaws and problems, but like internationally, everybody doesn't know that like he dated Stefflon, or he comes out to shows really late, or is involved in X, Y, and Z scandal, like because he's able to cover that like internet, like just keep it locally, is I guess his winning point.
Now with Burna Boy, one thing, he's truly unique, not even just a sense of the fact that he's really like the first like superstar African international artist commercially, but I also say too, he really got popular, I would say, over the last like 4 years, maybe even 3. Would you say so? Popular in America.
Again, I think that's kind of hard for me to say because I have a different view. Like I have a different pull on like the music. So I feel like I've been listening to Burna since, I don't know, maybe 2013. 14.
So when he first came out, when he debuted.
So it's like it's harder for me to say because to me it's like the people who I'm surrounded by and like me myself have always been listening to Burna. So it's not like he got more popular. Maybe like more people that I wouldn't expect to listen to Burna are listening to him now. So I can agree with you, maybe like the past 4-5 years. So
I just want to make sure I make this point. So with Burna Boy, I remember the first album I heard from him, I think it was called, was it Outside?
And the Black album with the...
Yeah, and it had Ye on it, or Yeah?
Yeah, it's Ye.
Yeah. What is it?
Ye.
Ye. So it had Ye on it, and that was the first time I had ever heard him. I'm like, nah, this is fire. And I'm not going to lie, I hate to say this, but it reminded me of like how Drake did like his take on like dancehall / Afrobeat, and I'm like, nah, but this sounds a little bit more authentic. No disrespect to Drake, but so 2018, like I said, I'm just gonna speak just from my perspective, as I feel like that's when Burna Boy really started to take off overseas and like commercially. So that was 5 years ago, and I think Burna Boy right now is 31, so he'd have been 26. 26 is kind of old for an artist, you know, to really be kind of reaching like that type of success. How has he been able to break the mold in your opinion? Because I mean, 26, so he technically came out when he was like 21. And then, like I said, he eventually, I think, Outside is the one that really kind of propelled him to like, you know, nationally, or excuse me, at least here in America. I can't speak for other countries. But how does that, how do you feel like he's been able to overcome just the age difference? Because right now he's 30. Like he's kind of old to be an artist.
Yeah, so I think that... Not
old, but to be having this amount of success at his age, his peak success. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think that like what helps him is the fact that he has the diaspora on his hand. So you mentioned earlier
Can you please define what a diaspora is?
So diaspora is really like where Africans are like throughout the world.
Okay.
So like the diaspora spreads to the UK, it spreads to Canada, it spreads to here. Probably I don't know the extent of it. Probably spreads to South America and like Brazil and like over into China. It's just really like where you can find like Africans at. Like for me, like you can find a Nigerian anywhere you go. Like I know there's like Nigerians in Italy. There's definitely Nigerians in the UK. There's Nigerians in Ireland and Canada here. Probably somewhere in Brazil, not that I have knowledge of, but you know, that's what I think is like the pull. So let's say Burna puts out music, there's Nigerians in the UK who are listening to it, and then there's people surrounded by them in the UK who are listening to it, and then that increases the popularity. Just like here, I'm listening to Burna, people around me are listening to Burna, then that increases the pull of like how it is. So I think not to get super deep, but like immigration plays a big role on the popularity of certain Afrobeat artists. Like not even just Burna. Like I think like for me the big three are like Burna, Wizkid, and Davido. So
yep, I've heard all three of them.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like the where Africans go, their music follows. So I think that is what's been helping in the past couple of years as well, and people feeling like a little less like ashamed to be African.
Damn, that's powerful.
Yeah, I said that was kind of deep. I'm sorry.
Powerful. Damn. Definitely want to talk to you about that later on. That's a very interesting point. But we do got to keep it music based. So essentially to me, I've always said like there's about to be another, I don't want to say another, but there's about to be an international artist that is going to pretty much have the impact that Bad Bunny is at. Just for you guys who don't know, Bad Bunny is the top 3 streamed artist across all streaming platforms. Or actually, I'm not going to say across all streaming platforms, but because I've seen this on Spotify. But across Spotify, 3 years running. Of course, Spotify is the biggest DSP, digital streaming platform. With that, you know, I was thinking to myself, like, you know, how popular Bad Bunny is even here in America. I was like, I feel like there's going to be another international artist that's going to, you know, pretty much get to that same level. Burna Boy isn't quite there yet. I wonder if his age might hold him back, maybe some of his antics, but I don't think the antics really hold him back because, like you said, internationally, like, you know, we don't necessarily really hear about some of the things he does that, you know, could be looked at as controversial. Anyways, with that being said, do you feel like Burna Boy is going to get bigger, or do you feel like he's reached kind of like his peak success and it's just like, oh, like, okay, he might stay here where he's at for a minute, but he might not ever really necessarily break the mold and be one of the biggest artists in the world?
I think based on his antics, he might not get to be as big as he could be. And I think it's because people are really kind of putting their foot down more, like, okay, I'm not going to stream this, I'm not going to share this, I'm not going to X, Y, and Z. And that's what it, like, comes down to, I think. Like, he can do as good as he's going to do with the fan base that he has. However, like, moving forward, like, people are not really standing for, like, his attitude and the problems that he's been having in the past. They're like, this shows who he is, and that's not gonna like move it forward, because he makes catchy music. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I listen to Burna all the time. Like,
I rock with him.
Yeah, so,
African Giant and Love. How do you say his name? Damani. Love those albums.
Yeah,
even though I can't understand them.
And that's the thing. Like, it's just like the vibe of it is what people go after. Burna can create the vibe. It's just about like. I think the next thing that puts somebody over the top is like a performance or like just connecting with the fans that gets people going to like put them to that next spot. Like with Drake, he has like a lot of memes, a lot of performances, a lot of like relatable moments for people to like click back to. With Burna, it's like you go to a concert and he's 7 hours late. What are you like gonna connect yourself back to? Like, you don't want to have that experience again, you know?
No.
So I think that's what potentially is holding him back, like giving those relatable, connectable moments with his fans that is going to like solidify himself positively in people's minds.
No. Sorry, this is just such a great conversation. Can you tell me about what it was like being at MSG when Burna Boys sold that out? Because as I said before, MSG is not a venue that people sell out. Like, you pretty much got to be the shit to get at MSG. You got to be Harry Styles level, Taylor Swift level. Maybe Lil Baby could sell out MSG. Drake could definitely do it. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the man sold 4 or 5 million records. We ain't gonna sit up here in front on Baby. But like selling out MSG is a huge deal. And for him, and I understand there's a lot of Africans in the New York City area, New York City metropolitan area rather. But what was it like being there? Because when he sold out MSG, you were in college?
Yeah, I was
at Kent State, right?
I went to Cuse.
Oh, you were in Cuse when he okay.
It was last year.
So you traveled 4 hours to go see this man and probably paid a crazy ticket price.
The ticket wasn't too crazy because it was like a part of a pre-sale, but like once the general public tickets opened, it did kind of get a little hectic. But yeah, we went from Cuse. It was me and my roommate. We went to Cuse and from Cuse to New York City, and like we were excited because I liked Burna and he hadn't released the newest album yet, but you know he had like a couple of new singles and again like he's featured on a lot of songs that like are pretty big hits. So I was excited and we were like running late, but we weren't even late because the show was supposed to start at like 8. We got there at like 7:30 and it was empty. It was like everybody was running on African time. And so we're sitting there like, okay, this is annoying. We went to go get drinks, sit back down, still hasn't started. Went to go get drinks again, sit back down, and then it's finally starting to fill up and everything. And then he didn't come out till like maybe like 9:30, which I expected. But he performed for like 3 hours straight, and he did like an amazing job. Like he's a good performer. I can't put that past him. Like he did a great job and everybody was like so electric in there. Like the lights were great, the production of it was amazing. So it was really like a great like experience and memory. So for me, I had a positive Burna Boy experience. And I definitely will remember that. So I gave him his props for that. And selling out MSG is pretty crazy. Like it felt sold out. Like you could feel the electricity of the room.
With that, because like I said, we've never really quite ever seen anything like this from Africa on an international level. Like I said, selling out MSG is a huge deal.
Yeah.
I
think he was the first African artist to do so.
Yeah, because I'm about to say, granted, I don't know many African artists, but like I can't even think of even one who could even get close. Like,
I'm not sure if WizKid's was sold out because WizKid did one just recently.
Did he do at MSG?
Yeah, he did it at MSG
Shout
just
out to
recently.
WizKid.
But
Okay.
I don't know if he sold out or not.
I feel like that would have made news.
Yeah,
Burna Boy doing
I
it
can't
at WizKid.
remember.
Yeah, but overall, like, what was that like for you being Nigerian? This man being, you know what I'm saying, from your same country, and as I said before, this is the first time we've seen this because, you know, Africa is huge. It's a huge continent. All these, I'm sure millions of people there make music. What was it like actually being there to see that, to see how far like an African artist was able to take this art form and be in America performing these songs in, you know, probably another language, I take it, half the time, performing in another language in America, selling it out, and everybody's there and they rocking with it. Like, what was that like for you being Nigerian?
It was kind of surreal, I feel like, because like not only were there like Nigerians there, but there were Black Americans there. There were white people there. There was Hispanic people there. So it kind of like took me off guard because that was not like the mix of people that I was expecting. Like, granted, I did expect like some Black Americans because of just like the exposure of it. But then seeing everybody else, like, I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing here? And then actually singing along to the music, that just like showed to me even more how much like Burna's reach is going, or was like reaching to. So it was kind of crazy, to be honest.
Why you looking at me?
You're like too giddy. That's why I'm trying to understand.
Gotcha. Okay, all I got more to say. We love hip hop fashion, and we love to rank it. We love to have an opinion. So this segment is called Put On or Put Out. So essentially, if the guest deems that the artist put the fit on, they executed the fit properly, they say put on. If the artist did not execute the fit properly, it's put out, or if it's bad enough, it's put the fuck out. So today, we have Ndidi, a style icon herself.
Style icon is crazy.
Go look at her Instagram. She got some shit. Don't let her be too modest.
Oh, man.
You can just say thank you. It's a genuine compliment.
Thank you.
There you go, Ndidi.
Oh, my goodness.
There you go. So anyways, yes. And today is going to be Chicago/Canada/Nigeria themed due to Ndidi being a part and being from multiple places and countries.
Wow, personalized.
Yes.
Okay.
You know how we do. So first off, Ndidi, we got probably my favorite rapper out of Chicago, maybe even my favorite rapper out of Chicago ever. My son G Herbo. Did my son put on or did he put out? I don't know what the hell he got on. I don't know nothing about the brands.
He put it on. I think it's a clean fit. It's like monochrome. It's nothing crazy. I mess with it.
So you like that fit?
Yeah, put on.
Put on. What do you like about that outfit, Ndidi? We need you to be a little bit more specific.
I like the monochrome of it because I do a lot of monochrome outfits myself.
Okay.
I don't know what shoes he got on, but it's going with the shirt, so it's not too much. I don't know what it is. He got the little white bracelet on that accents the little white in his shoes.
Okay.
The background matches him. I'm messing with it.
But now, Ndidi, when we get through, you can just set it face down.
Okay.
But all right, best. So G Herbo, you put that shit on, player. Next up, we got another one of my favorites from Chicago. Lil Durk, courtside. I don't know what game he was at, but this is definitely an artistic expression of fashion if I've ever seen it. Oh, also, too, and there's a second photo as well, so you can see the shoes that he had on. This is a full fit. So dressed with all types of bust-down diamond chains with the V-Roy, broken skateboard going across the chest, leather pants, don't know who they're by, and some crazy RoboCop-looking boots, something definitely designer. And a designer shiesty. How are we feeling about Durkio Schmirkio? Did Durkio put on or did he put out?
Put out because I would maybe like it more if the skateboard was functional, but it's just like, why is this here? So, and the boots I'm not rocking with those.
Not rocking with those at all?
This could have been better if there was no skateboard. Maybe I would have liked it more if he had like a different like print underneath like where the slits are. That would have been cool. The shiesty's cool. The boots, I'm not rocking with those either. The pants are cool. But yeah, it's a no because of the skateboard.
Damn. Durkio, we rock with you, player, but according to Ndidi, you got to be put out. Drizzy Drake, don't know where he was going to or where he was leaving.
Drake, this is a no. Oh my God.
Did Drake put on or did he put out?
He put out because these Timbs. First of all, I don't even know like what type of Timbs. Like they're not even the regular ones with the like little brown at the back.
Yeah.
And then this varsity and the t-shirt. What is going on? No.
That's one thing I will say about Drake. I feel like there was like for almost every single great rapper, like, every single like kind of GOAT of their era, whether it was Jay-Z, whether it was Tupac, whether it was Biggie, whoever, I felt like there was always like a lot of them were fashion icons. I just can't give that to Drake to that level. And Drake, respectfully, bro, we love you, but you are too rich to be walking around with Timbs with no leather on the back, player.
No.
Like when I seen the fit, the Tim, yeah, Drake, and you know what's so crazy? Like a month or two ago, Drake did a show at the Apollo with Dipset, and Dipset, they from Harlem, so they from New York City, so they Timbs, that's their thing. And I wonder if I would have shown them that photo, if they would have even thought to reconsider, because Drake, bro, the butt nakeds is crazy.
I just, if he had like sneakers on or something else, like something solid. I don't even know if they're Timbs for real. Like, this is really scary. No. Next.
Oh, next, we taking it back to the Shy. Chance the Rapper.
You want to know what's so crazy? I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but when I was in Jamaica, I saw Chance.
Okay.
And I feel like I wouldn't have known it was him if he wasn't wearing that 3 hat. Anyway, that's besides the point. I don't like this outfit. It's ugly. Wow. I don't know what else to say. I think the contrasting like colors on the sleeve, if it was solids, I could work with it. But the fact that it's all stripes, no. And then the shoes are okay. I think it's the top that's throwing me off. And then these look like cargo joggers. Like, there's like a stripe on the side. I don't know. It's too much stripes. No.
And Ndidi.
Put out.
Put out. Damn. Next up, I'll throw it all the way back to 2000. This might be 2013, maybe even 2012. Chief Keef.
I can't say no to Keith. Like, this is a classic.
Classic, man. As I said earlier, Chief is known for, like, Chief to me is the one who kind of brought Montclair. Yeah, the
Look at his
Montclair.
little locks. Yeah, this is a put on. I think it's just like
everybody in middle school at this age dressing
exactly.
like
That's
that.
exactly that, because there's literally so many little boys with pictures like this. Like,
Little boys is crazy. They grown men now.
Nah, because they was little boys at the time. Yeah, I could say put on just because it's a classic. I don't know if it's like if I saw somebody like this today, maybe not.
Okay.
But because it's a classic and it's Keith, it's a put on.
Got you. Now we're taking it to Canada, and this is actually a special one. So this person I'm finna show you is actually a Canadian producer named Wonder Girl. I don't know if you're familiar. No. She's produced for Drake. She's produced for people like Young Thug, some pretty big name artists. Okay. So like I said, black woman from Canada. This is her during her Reebok deal that she did. I don't know how many years ago, but they reached out to Wonder Girl and they got a deal done. Shout out to Reebok. Actually, put the camera on me, please, Imani. Shout out to Reebok. Reebok has done right by hip hop for the longest time, and we need to start showing Reebok more love. Man, from the Cash Money days when they pulled up with a whole truck to the middle of the projects in the middle of the hood in New Orleans, Louisiana, and handed out sneakers and clothes to kids in the 90s through their partnership with Cash Money. I think Missy Elliott, I think Missy Elliott had a thing with Reebok because I remember she used to wear it a lot. I remember her seeing her on MTV with it on. I think Future had a deal with Reebok. I think Cardi B has a deal with Reebok. Is it Pierre Moss? I don't know if he still has or if he still did. Actually, shout out to Pierre Moss, cinematographer Imani. Actually got a pair of his sneakers on her feet, looking real nice, Imani. But anyways, Reebok has always done right by hip hop. We definitely need to give Reebok their flowers. So Reebok, shout out to you. Take anything y'all got laying around in a size 12 or a large. But anyways, enough with that. Wonder Girl, giving her opportunity, being all the way from Canada. How we feel about Wonder Girl's collaboration with Reebok? Is it a put on or is it a put out?
They did her dirty, I think.
Damn.
I feel like if they added more layers to this, it would have been better. Like, that Reebok classic, like, jumper, like, the crew neck, it's, like, so basic. Because, like, or, I don't know. Because the pants are pretty loud. I like the pants. They're cool. The shoes, they work with the pants right now. I feel like the crew neck is too heavy for the pants. Like, maybe if it was a T-shirt or something, it would be cool. Or just, like, I don't know. I think the crew neck is throwing me off the whole fit.
Got you.
So I think I'm going to have to say put out.
Damn.
I know.
Wonder Girl, we rock with you. Definitely.
It was literally just the crew neck throwing the whole thing off.
Wonder Girl, we still rock with you for being a trailblazer in the hip-hop community.
Yeah.
We thank you for all the jams that you put out for us. So shout out to you, Wonder Girl. But to Ndidi, outfit got to be put out.
Sorry, baby.
Next up, Abel. The Weeknd. Yeezys. Where I believe a bomber jacket that zip all the way around his
I'm just
neck.
going to say put out right now because this is so annoying. The bomber on the red carpet is crazy. So, and I'm pretty sure these are jeans. Granted, I don't know, like, maybe they're $3,000 jeans. I don't know. But the bomber is throwing me off too because what is really going on? Like, is it zipped up? Is the shirt underneath just like a match of it? I don't know. Yeah, this looks like I could have went to the mall and seen him like this and he would have been a regular guy.
Damn.
Put out.
Jeez. Next up.
I need some heat.
Some heat? Okay. Oh, I might have something for you. Next up, we got G Herbo in the all-leather NBA patch jacket with the matching leather pants with the G Fazos on and the red hoodie underneath.
Herbo.
That's not some heat right there?
This is fire.
Okay.
The Fazos is ruining it for me.
We're talking about, nah, don't be disrespectful.
No, I'm not being disrespectful.
You know
it's
how
like,
you know how Herbo feel about
look at
Fazos.
that. If you covered up the shoes, the fit is so much harder, and then bam.
Fazos go with almost everything.
Not with this. It's because most of the outfit is like darker.
Okay.
And
so what, he should have put the black forces on?
oh no. That's scary. I don't know. Maybe
Wait,
like
say
some
that again?
tint.
That's what?
Scary. It's kind of scary. The jacket is tough.
Okay.
The red hoodie underneath it, good accent. We could work with that. The
Okay.
pants matching the jacket, that works too. But
Overall
I feel
execution, put on or put out, Ndidi. Come on, that's your Chicago broski right there.
Herbo got put on the first time. He gonna get put on again.
Oh,
it worked.
Bet. Okay, cool. Next up, back to Canada. We got my dog Nav doing a whole lot. I don't even know what to call it.
And I'm not even gonna look at this because what is going on? What you know what year this was?
I wish I could tell you. But I would take it that it's easily been within the last 5 years.
And that's disrespectful.
Okay.
If this was 2000 and I don't know, 6, we can make it work. But there's too many prints, and none of the prints match each other. So put out. I'm not even gonna talk about it no more. Next
up, as I said before, controversial, as always. But from a purely fashion standpoint, I would be wrong not to add Brother Kanye.
This is a bad fit.
Wow.
He's had decent fits where I could work with this, not so much.
Kanye's a fashion icon.
Well,
Decent?
Decent is a Chicago word. I feel like it holds more weight sometimes. I don't know. Whatever. Decent is in a good connotation in this scenario. This is too many layers. Like we have a crew neck on top of a t-shirt on top of a tunic, and then we got the pea coat on top. No, and then this little ass chain. What's going on? No, and these Chelsea boots. Absolutely not. Put out. Next
up, keeping it from the shy. Rest in peace to the legend, King Von. We got King Von. Look like he Diored down with 2 bust-down watches on. Actually, also put the camera on me, please. First rapper to wear 2 watches at a time is Juvenile from the Hot Boys, or from Cash Money, from the Noya, Juvenile. Juvenile, shout out to you being the first rapper to put on 2 watches, because everybody copies that. So definitely got to give Juvenile his flowers. But how we feeling about King Von?
I could rock with this. The 2 watches, flex how you need to. I like how the green kind of go with the scarf or whatever. That's cute. And then the little speckles on the jeans go with the scarf and the hoodie. So yeah, he could put on.
Bet. Shout out to Von.
That's a nice little ring too. Yeah, put on.
Von, rest in peace, yo. Miss you, because you was hard. All right. You know, you still live on. Next up, we got Burna Boy.
Burna.
Burna doing a lot of colors.
I don't mind this though, because it's like a seamless flow into the colors. And then the shoes are not super loud, like the pants. And I mean, granted, this is a print on the top, but I like it. I'm working with it. This is a put on. You like them white, they look like some snakeskin shoes with the indentation on the toe? This is cute. I think he wore that or wore something like that during the concert.
Okay, so Burna Boy put on?
Yeah, put on.
Shout out to West Africa. Next up, I had to go with my dog Chief Keef again. How do we feel about Chief?
Okay, Chief, you lost me with this one.
Dang.
You lost me. I think if the shoes was different, I don't know. Maybe the jeans is throwing me off. It's just something about it. The shirt is cool. Like, the shirt I'm rocking with, I could, if he was selling that, I'd copy. But the bottom half of the fit is throwing me off, and that's too much proportion, so I'm going to have to say put off.
Chief, you 1 for 2, and we still rock with you, player.
He really 1 for 2 for real.
Next up, Polo G, Chicago at its finest. How we feeling about Polo G?
It's basic. I feel like
Amiris with the Travis Scott ones. With the Travis Scott sixes.
Yeah, it's like I think it's just like the color combo that's basic to me. That's like okay, like you can't go wrong with this. That chain OD like crazy. But I could rock with it.
Kanye's was too small. Now his is too big. You can't please nobody.
We gotta do a middle ground. Like Burna's chains, they were cool. Like they was thick, but they was like you could see them, but not too much. Yeah, he did a good job. Put on.
And finally, we gonna finish it off with Canada. How we feeling about Smiley? All black with the OVO collaboration.
I love Smiley, so I don't even care. Just put on. I like it. It's all black, a little lightning bolts or whatever.
Custom with the OVO Nikes.
Yeah, he got the Nocta on. Oh, with the green bubble. Okay, I like this. Shout out Smiley. I love him. Put on.
Bet. So you rock. Wait, hold on. Time about. You rock with Smiley?
I just think he's so bubbly and like, oh my gosh.
You like his music?
I like his person.
You like his music? Because what was...
He cool.
He cool. His music?
It's decent.
I bet. You bumping that over the top?
I will play it a couple times and keep it pushing. Yeah. Shout out Smiley.
Got you. Well, y'all, that pretty much concludes this episode of I Got More to Say. And Ndidi, thank you so much for coming on and featuring.
Of course.
You know, really appreciate you. Had a lot of great conversation. Definitely some things I got to talk to you about more in the future. And Ndidi, anything that you want to tell the people before I sign it on off? Anything that you got going on? Any socials that they can follow you at? Anything that you want to let the people know?
You can follow me at my main page. It's Ndidi, ITSNDIDI. I also have a fitness page, but if you get to the main page, you could follow the fitness page from there. Musically, don't be afraid to try new things, because I feel like the type of music that I like, or the way that I can discuss music, would have never occurred if I never tried new things or ventured out to go try something for myself. So definitely do that for yourself if you feel like you've been kind of linear in what you listen to, because you never know what you're going to find that you might actually like.
Got you. Well, Ndidi, thank you for that. Definitely make sure that y'all expanding your palates as far as your music taste. But as always, I'm Kato the Third, and as always, I got more to say.